Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Welcome to this morning's Bhārataṁ class. It's a recording of a class given by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada in Los Angeles, California, in 1974. Canto 1, Chapter 16, Text 12. Without further ado, we'll start the class. Hare Krishna.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Bhadrāśvaṁ. Ketumālaṁ. Bhārataṁ. Cottarān. Kurūn. Kimpuruṣādīni. Kimpuruṣa Ādīni varṣāṇi vijitya jagṛhe balim bhadrāśvaṁ ketumālaṁ ca bhārataṁ cottarān kurūn kimpuruṣādīni varṣāṇi vijitya jagṛhe balim bhadrāśvaṁ ketumālaṁ ca bhārataṁ cottarān kurūn kimpuruṣādīni varṣāṇi vijitya jagṛhe balim bhadrāśvaṁ ketumālaṁ ca bhārataṁ cottarān kurūn kimpuruṣādīni varṣāṇi vijitya jagṛhe balim
bhadrāśvaṁ ketumālaṁ ca bhārataṁ cottarān kurūn
Bhadrāśva Ketumālaṁ Ketumāla Cha also Bhārataṁ Bhārata Cha and Uttarān the northern countries Kurūn the kingdom of the Kuru dynasty Kimpuruṣādīni a country beyond the northern side of the Himalayas. varṣāṇi parts of the earth planet. Vijitya conquering. jagṛhe exacted. Balim strength. Translation. Mahārāja Parīkṣit then conquered all parts of the earthly planet. Bhadrāśva, Ketumāla, Bhārata, the northern portion of Kuru Jangala, Kimpuruṣa, etc., and exacted tributes from their respective rulers.
So in this verse it is descriptive, different parts of the world. So the important word is here, vijitya jagṛhe balim. Balim, I do not know how it is said, strength, tax, tributes. The king, the emperor would conquer a country and levy tax, must give at least token. It doesn't matter, even £1 or $1 per year, but he must pay something, token. That means he agrees to become subordinate. Just like according to Rent Act, a poor man must pay something, it may be, in our country it is so. So that the landlord have the claim. Without rent, after some years it becomes his property. So, this conquering of other countries was not like the Napoleon conqueror or Hitler conqueror. No. As it will be evident from the character of Mahārāja Parīkṣit, the idea was to keep the whole world Krishna conscious. If certain country, certain ports of the world would not be Krishna conscious, then this king would go and chastise them. Just like Krishna used to kill the demons. There was one Pondro, even during Krishna's time, he placed himself as Vishnu. He artificially made 4 hands. So he challenged Krishna that I am Vishnu. So Krishna immediately cut his head. So any impostor, pretender, representing as the incarnation of God or something like that, in those days the king would not tolerate. Immediately cut his head. What to speak of thieves and rogues. So the kings going to other country, conquering, it did not mean that to acquire some position, land position. No, that was not the aim. The aim was all the fights in Mahabharata or in Ramayana, it was meant for chastising the godless. Godless. Just like Ramchandra. Lord Ramchandra chastised Ravan. So he went to Lanka, they call Ceylon, and crossed the sea by making bridge. But what was the idea? The idea was that this rascal, demon, is a godless person. So therefore, he must be punished. He was punished not alone. Anyone who joined with him, everyone was punished. But Lord Ramchandra did not occupy the land for his kingdom. He installed his brother Bibhishan, who was a devotee, in the place of Ravana. Just like Krishna. Krishna was taking part in the battlefield of Kurukshetra and inducing Arjuna that you fight. Arjuna was not willing to fight, but he was inducing to fight. What is the purpose? Because the other party represented thieves, rogues and demons. Krishna wants, therefore, that somebody must be king who is his representative, devotee. That is the whole plan. Jada jada hi dharmasya glani bhavati Bhārata abhutthānam adharmasya tadatmanam srijāmaham paritranāya sadhunam vināṣāya siddhiskita dharma samasthapanarthāya. This is the purpose. Dharma samasthapanarthāya. To establish religious principle. If people become irreligious, then the whole world becomes a hell. Just like at the present moment. Anywhere you go, it is hellish condition. Nobody is peaceful, nobody is happy, although materially very much advanced. Political entanglement, social entanglement, religious entanglement, economic entanglement, simply entanglement. No peaceful living, anyone. Just like at the present moment, the whole world, there is, what is that crisis? Power crisis, energy crisis. Energy crisis. So, crisis must be there. Otherwise, if you live peacefully, even within so many crises, war and fighting, we are thinking this world is very nice. In spite of all these difficulties, especially in the Western countries, every 10 years there is a war. First World War, Second World War. Before that, 100 years war, 7 years war, Trafalgar War, Waterloo War, war. There cannot be any peaceful life because everyone is rogue and rascal. So there must be war. There must be punishment by nature. As soon as there is overpopulation, there is Malthus theory also. That as soon as there is overpopulation, there must be something disturbance. War, pestilence, epidemic, and finish. Finish. The extra population, unnecessary. Varṣāṇi. They are called Varṣāṇi. Varṣāṇi because by nature there must be Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. By nature. That should be organized. Head is head, tail is tail. Not that head, tail, everything is one. That is called Varṣāṇi. Krishna, Arjuna has argued that if the family members, the woman becomes widow, then there will be Varṣāṇi population. Varṣāṇi population means a population who cannot say who is his father. That is Varṣāṇi. Or which caste does he belong? What is his father? What is his family? No, nothing. No information. That is called Varṣāṇi. So, when the Varṣāṇi population increases, then the whole world becomes hell. So, in order to save the world, to become hellish, the king was so alert. That is also bhakti. Because the whole natural plan is to come back to home, back to God. This is nature's plan. Vijitya gunamayi mama maya durattaya. Just like the police department. What is the meaning of police department? Why government spends so much money? But police department. We have to keep law and order. There must be. As soon as there is disobedience of law and order, immediately police department must go and punish and arrest. We can experience these things. Simply by God's side, there is such department, police department. There is Maya, Durga Devi. Durga Devi, you have seen, most of you might not have seen Durga Devi's picture with trident in the hand. The Asura is being attacked by the trident. So this trident means threefold miseries. You have seen the picture, Mother, Goddess Durga is piercing the trident and just here on the heart. This trident means threefold miseries. Adhyatmik, adhibhautik, adhidvaivik. I have several times explained. Pertaining to the body and mind, pertaining to the other living entities, adhibhautik, adhidvaivik, pertaining to the nature's disturbance. So always we must be disturbed. If everything is all right, just like in your country, supposing everything is all right, but what is that severe disease? Cancer. No. The cancer, people are afraid of cancer. Or something else. Must be. You cannot live peacefully. That is not possible. Vijitya gunamayi mama maya durattaya. But the foolish rascals, they cannot understand that I want to live peacefully, happily. Why these things are enforced upon me? That is consciousness, real consciousness. Nobody wants to die. Nobody wants to suffer from disease. Nobody wants to be suffering from any calamity. Or nobody wants that there should be fire. Now just see, especially in America, I see dun that's going on, fire brigade. But nobody wanted fire. But the fire brigade is alert because there must be fire somewhere. That is expected. That is expected. And if there is fire, there will be havoc. So nobody wants the havoc, but it takes place. It takes place. This is the nature's law. Because as soon as dharma saglani bhavati, tadatmanam srijamaha, there may not be discrepancies in the process of religious life. That is nature's law. So, what is that religion? That is also explained in the Bhagavad Gita. Sarvadharman parityajya mamekam. This is religion. To surrender to God. It doesn't matter what religion you profess. It doesn't matter. But you must learn how to obey the Supreme Lord. That is religion. Religion does not mean that you stamp some stereotyped religion. I am Christian, I am Hindu, I am Muslim, I am Buddhist, and then fight. That is not religion. That is fanaticism. Religion means how one has become devoted to God. That is religion. Savai pungsang paro dharma jato bhakti radhokhaji. You claim to be religious, or you claim to be Hindu or Christian or Buddhist, that's all right. But do you know what is God? Everyone is silent. Everyone, all nonsense, rascal, silent. He doesn't know what is God and what is his religion. If you do not know what is God, a fake idea, that is not religion. You must know what is God. Just like to become American citizen, it requires to know something of the history of America. So if American citizen, if you ask him, what you are? I am American. Who is your president? I do not know. What is this nonsense, America? Would you like to hear from him that I do not know who is president? Similarly, a human being professing some certain type of religion, but you ask him, what is God? Religion must be in relationship with God, any religion. But ask him, what is God? No answer. But religion means savai pungsang paro dharma jato bhakti adho khaji ahituki apratihata jenatma samprasidati. This is religion. First class religion. What is that first class religion? Jato bhakti adho khaji. By practicing which one becomes a devotee of the Lord. That is religion. That is religion. So instead of becoming devotee of the Lord, we are devotee of dog. This is our position. So in order to save the human society from this dangerous condition, without any knowledge of God, without any knowledge of religious principle, there must be some strong kings, strong government to save the people. Because this human life is a chance. Other inferior type of life, animals, birds, bees, trees, it is not possible. They are also living entities. But human life is developed consciousness. So this is nature's gift, that now you try to understand what is God. Now you try to understand what is your relationship with God. Now you practice yourself how to go back home, back to home. Back. This is the business of the human society. So, unless the king or government looks after it, how people will be advanced? The government is advocating that you drink, you eat meat, you have prostitution and gambling and give me tax. Finish. My business is finished. So Parīkṣit Mahārāja was not like that. Parīkṣit Mahārāja is conquered all these places to serve Krishna, to teach Krishna consciousness. Therefore he conquered. Otherwise, that is the business of all devotees. Yesterday we were speaking of Digvijaya. So every devotee should be so sincere to Krishna or God that he must execute Krishna's mission. Krishna himself comes. Krishna comes as devotee. When he came personally, he established his position as God with all opulences, 6 opulences, and he asked through Arjuna, Sarvadharman Parityajya Mamekam Saranam Bhaja. This is Krishna's demand. You rascal, because we are all parts and parcel of Krishna. We are suffering. Manas sasthani indriyani prakritisthani karusati. A great struggle for existence within this material world, simply by mental speculation. Mana sasthani indriyani. And then the indriyas are misguided, simply sense gratification, not for controlling the senses. Human life means to control the senses, not to open the senses, naked. This is not human life. To control, that is the distinction between animal and human life. Animal cannot control. The human civilized man must have the capacity to control. That is human civilization. That is called tapasya. Tapasa brahmacharjena. Jamina daminava. This is human life. So Parīkṣit Mahārāja, in so many ways, he was king, emperor, not for exploiting the citizen, but to give them real sense, real consciousness, so that they may become happy. Now we can read some of the description of the places we have selected from Mahabharata. Read it.
Bhadrāśva. It is an island near Meru Parvat. There is a description of this island in Mahabharata, Bhishma Parva, 7:16 through 18. The description was narrated by Sanjaya to Dhritarashtra. Mahārāja Yudhishthira also conquered this island, and thus the province was included within the jurisdiction of his empire. Mahārāja Parīkṣit was formally declared to be emperor of all lands ruled by his grandfather, but still he had to establish his supremacy while he was...
This island might have changed the name because there are so many islands, just like the Java Island, the Lakkadweep Island, very small island. Similarly, this Meru is also another island. Not only these small islands, but according to Vedic culture, each planet is called island. Each planet. Just like this planet, earthly planet is called Jambudweep. Why it is called Deep? Deep means island. Because Actually, it is island of the air. Just like there are so many islands in the sea, similarly, this vast air, outer space, and all these planets are floating like island. Therefore, they are called island, Deepo, Jambu Deepo. Here in this earthly planet, long, long ago, it is said in the Vedic literature, Sapta Deepa. Sapta means seven. So this earthly planet is of seven Deepa, seven islands. These two Americas, North and South, they are islands. Africa, one island. And combine Asia and Europe, another island. The two poles, two islands. Australia, another island. This, you see, Saptadvipa. So they say they discovered America. So, but this discovery was long, many millions of years it was known. Where is the discovery? That poor fund of knowledge. Because they have no knowledge in the Vedic literature, they think now I discovered. Just like a child born, he thinks, now I discovered the world. Before my birth, there was no world. This kind of knowledge called poor fund of knowledge. Therefore, knowledge must be taken from the Vedic literature. Veda means full knowledge. And that full knowledge, when it is properly utilized, then you can understand Krishna. Vedaishta sarvai ahamiva vedyam. First of all, you have to take to the Vedic literature for real knowledge. And when you come to the platform of real knowledge, then you can understand Krishna. Before knowing Krishna, you are in darkness. You are in darkness. Because it is said, Vedaishta sadvai, Veda means knowledge. The ultimate goal of knowledge is to understand Krishna. And therefore it is called Vedanta. Vedanta, Veda means knowledge. And Anta means the ultimate. Vedanta, Vedanta philosophy. The Vedanta philosophy gives you direction. That what is the object of knowledge? Athāta Brahma Jigyāsa. Now, object of knowledge to understand the Supreme, the origin of everything. That is object of knowledge. Philosophy. Philosophy means science, anything. Science also trying. What is the original cause of this creation? What is the original cause of life? But because andhājathandhiripuniyammana, the so-called philosophers, scientists, they have been taught by another unscientist, not scientist. So he is also not scientist, not philosopher, because he has been taught by another andha, just like one blind man leads other blind man. So what will get knowledge? So therefore, according to Vedic civilization, it is enjoined, it is ordered that if you want to take knowledge, tad vijnanartham, to understand the complete science, tad vijnanartham, the spirit, so gurumeva abhigachet, you must approach a bona fide guru. Otherwise there is no knowledge, that's not knowledge. So Vedic knowledge is so perfect that this Bharatvarsha, 7 islands. Now the 7 islands is still there. You cannot make 8 or 9 or 6. The 7 islands are still there. The 7 islands means within 7 islands, the 2 Americas, North and South Americas are there. So why it is called Columbus? Columbus discovered. No, it was already in the Vedic literature. You will find in Shankaracharya's, when Columbus discovered America, how many years ago? 200 years? 500 years. And Shankaracharya has described about the 7 islands 1,500 years ago. So why the credit should go to Columbus? It should go to Shankaracharya. But Andhajadhandhi Rupanyamana, he said that I have discovered. So he was talking, perhaps you know this story, he was talking among his friends. The friends ridicule another friend. So they were criticizing, for nothing you got some credit that you have discovered America. What you have done? It was already there. So he said, yes, that is knowledge. Things are already there, but one who puts it into the forefront of the public, that is credit. So actually everything is existing. We have to simply take the knowledge. The modern method is ascending process. The knowledge is there, but still they are trying to understand it by arohapantha, ascending process. It is called inductive knowledge. Inductive knowledge means that suppose the man is mortal. So the so-called scientists, they are trying to discover the law why man is mortal. They are studying, this man is mortal, this man is mortal, this man is mortal. Therefore, it is concluded that all men are mortal. Nobody is immortal. But another man will argue that you have not studied all the human society. How you can conclude? Therefore, you must study. So this study will go on for life after life. They will never come to a person who is immortal. But they will protest that we cannot accept. But our process is deductive. We say that man is mortal, first of all. Therefore, John is a man, he also mortal. This is deductive process. First of all, we accept man is mortal. The inductive process is that why shall I accept man is mortal? I may not have seen a person who is immortal. So that argument can be given. But we accept this Vedic knowledge, the first premises, accepted. Just like we accept that God is the source of everything. God says, Krishna says, that aham sarvasya prabhava mattas sarvam pravartate iti matta bhajanti manga buddha bhava samannita. Krishna says, I am the origin of everything. Everything emanates from me. Matta sarvam prabhava. Sarvam means everything. There are two things, animate and what is the opposite? Inanimate. There are two things. So Krishna says, aham sarvasya prabhu. I am the source of both animate and inanimate. So Krishna, what is Krishna? Krishna is life, supreme life. Krishna is not dead. We are getting Krishna's description. He is not a dead body. These are things very, elaborately described in the Vedic literature. Just like in Vedanta it is said, the origin of everything is Brahma. Janmadasya jataha athatam brahma jigyan. Now, this origin of everything, what is the formation? Animate or inanimate? This is accepted, That Brahma means, the absolute truth means, the origin of everything. Now the next question would be, what is that origin? These modern scientists, they think the origin is chemical. But we say, no, it cannot be chemical. Janmadasya jata annayat itaratascha arthesu abhigga. The origin of everything must be a cognizant. He knows everything. Otherwise, how he can be origin? It is very logical. Janmadasya jataha annayat, origin. Just like I have established this institution, I know how it was established perfectly and how it is going on. And somebody may not know how it was established in New York with so great difficulty. But because I am the origin founder, I know. So similarly, so many things are going on in the nature's way. So, say, origin, he must know everything. And if he knows, then he cannot be inanimate. Where is the possibility of the origin becoming inanimate? No. Because the argument is, if one is origin of everything, or something is origin of, he must have sense how things are going on. That is explained in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Janmadasya jataha annayat itaratascha. Arthesu abhigya. Abhigya, this word is used. Abhigya means cognizant. That if he is the origin of everything, how we got all knowledge perfectly. Therefore the next word is sarat. He is fully independent. He doesn't require to take knowledge from anyone else. Otherwise how he can be origin? Sarat. Muhyanti jas suraya. That origin is so perfect and is still suraya. Many scholars, many scientists, philosophers, they are also bewildered that how he can be a person. Muhyanti jas suraya teni brahma dida adikavai. Muhyanti jas suraya. These things are described. So actually, if we want to have knowledge of everything, the source of knowledge is Vedas. And the essence of Veda is called Vedanta. And the descriptive explanation of Vedanta is the Srimad Bhagavatam. Bhāsaṁ Brahmasutranam. Brahmasutra. Brahmasutra is the Vedanta philosophy. Krishna has also referred to Brahmasutra. Brahmasutrai hetumadbhi vinishchitam. He recommends the hetumadbhi prastha. There are three prasthas, and Brahma Sutra is also prastha, the way of understand. So Krishna has recommended that if you want to know things with reason and argument, then try to understand Vedanta Sutra. Those who want to know the absolute truth through reasoning and argument, then one should study Vedanta Sutra. But Vedanta Sutra means codes. Just like they have got code book, one word, it is meaning so many other things. In businessmen, they have got codes. When they send cable to their customer or to their principal, they use some codes. It saves so many words. So Brahma Sutra means codes. So that code also requires explanation. And that explanation is Srimad Bhagavatam. Bhāsaṁ Brahma Sutranam. Brahma Sutranam, the codes explained in the Brahma Sutra, that is explained in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna, devotees. Again, wonderful explanation quite detailed scientific arguments, analogies, so many that Srila Prabhupada explained, so we get a good sense of where our knowledge comes from, why it is that way, and why the scientists are not really in the right frame of mind for what they believe in, or what they're trying to propagate. So they ended with Vedanta Sutra and what it means to sutra, meaning codes, and Srimad Bhagavatam explains or has a commentary on the Vedanta Sutra. Very important, so we understand the Srimad Bhagavatam that we've been reading and reading Srila Prabhupada's purpose, where it's all tied together. What is the purpose of Srimad Bhagavatam? So that's all important for us. So then it gives us the impetus to have to know more through Srimad Bhagavatam. So dear devotees, this is the time to unmute yourself. If you have any questions, you have any comments, you can unmute yourself and ask or make a comment. Hare Krishna. Any questions or comments? All right. Takeaways are also, very much invited if you want to make that also. And I'll start
Hare
off with
Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Accept my obeisances. All glories to Prabhupada.
I was just thinking like we have Vishnuvada Prabhu on the call. So,
Oh, okay. I did not realize that he's on. Prabhu, you can definitely make comments on this. I wasn't aware that he went on yet.
That's okay. I'd like to hear your comments first, if you don't mind.
Okay.
You usually have some very appropriate comments. I can follow you if you don't mind today. Okay?
All right. So, a few things I noted. Srila Prabhupada, when he started literally how things happen here on this earth. If you have an emperor, the emperor defeats a country, then he can levy taxes on the king of that country. And Srila Prabhupada says, however token the amount is, as long as the king agrees to pay those taxes, no matter how small, then the king has agreed to be subordinate to the emperor. So he made that. But there were some people who were trying to take the position of the emperor of emperors, Krishna himself. Some people pretending to be Vishnu. And Krishna definitely, there was one that was like that. He had artificial forearms, and at least two of them were artificial. And Krishna met him, and of course, he tried to deceive people by saying that he was Vishnu, but Krishna punished him by cutting his head. So that was punishment, but that was also an indication that he couldn't possibly be Vishnu, because Vishnu cannot be killed. But that particular person was killed. So godless people were given punishment. And he gave an example about Ram conquering Ravana. Now, I wasn't interested, Ram himself was not interested in taking the kingdom, Sri Lanka, but he put Vibhishan on the throne, Ravana's brother on the throne. Why? Because Vibhishan was a devotee. So the Lord wanted people to be devotees, and the strategy was establishing a devotee on the throne. Same thing happened after Mahabharata. It was Yudhishthira, a devotee, that was put on the throne. So Prabhupada talking about crises that are present in all parts of the world. But still, people think with all the wars going on, that this is a nice place. Srila Prabhupada mentioned the overpopulation problem. It's dealt with through wars, pestilence, famine, etc. And then that causes the population to be reduced, and the Varnashankara, the unwanted people born under the three modes, they are removed also. He mentioned Goddess Durga holding a trident, and the trident represents the threefold miseries, and Goddess Durga attacks the criminals. So people want to live peacefully, but there are wars and other discomforts like fires and so on here. So indirectly, it was telling us it's not the best place to be. So how do we get out? Well, with the knowledge of religion. Religion demands knowledge of God, real religion. People may belong to religious denominations, but they do not know God. Then he quoted from the Bhārataṁ Savaipuṁ Samparo Dharma. That is religion. So we as people have to try to understand Krishna. We have to understand our relationship with him and how to go back home. Mahārāja Parīkṣit conquered different places in order to establish Krishna consciousness. Then the Lord also came personally. And of course, in the war in Mahabharata, before it started, he asked Arjuna, Sarvadharman Parityaja, which is real religion, surrender to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So according to Vedic culture, this is an interesting one when you got to here. The planets are called islands. An island, of our definition materially, is the land surrounded all by water. But of course, the 5 gross elements are earth, water, fire, then air also. So then Srila Prabhupada explained that these different places are called island because they are surrounded by air. And this earthly planet has 7 islands. And then he named the islands, two Americas, then Africa, that's 3. That combination of Europe and Asia, then the 2 poles, South Pole and North Pole, and then Australia. So he also talked about real knowledge is from Vedanta. Vedic knowledge is perfect. So he gave one example about Columbus discovering America, and then he asked, and the Buddhists told him that this Columbus business was 500 years ago. Then the Prabhupada says the Sankaracharya already indicated the existence of America 1,500 years ago. But still, Columbus is getting the credit. Actually, people don't really take that seriously now. Science going by the inductive process or the ascending process, he mentioned that. Vedas is deductive process, descending. So we accept. Makes it a lot easier on us when they accept too. Vedic literature says everything emanates from Brahman. Scientists say that material world is from matter. That can't be right, of course. The origin of everything has to be animate. And matter is not animate. Matter is inanimate. So the origin, whoever originated everything, cannot be inanimate. He must be knowledgeable, cognizant, avijja. And he also has to be independent, swarat. If you think about it, it's not too difficult to understand that. He has to be swarat, independent. Because if he's the origin of everything, how can he depend on someone else for knowledge? And that's why Krishna is independent. The source of everything is described by the Vedas. This is how he came to explain Srimad Bhagavatam, which is nice. Source of everything is described by the Vedas. The essence of Vedas, Vedanta, the description, explanation in the Vedanta is Srimad Bhagavatam. So basically the commentary on Vedanta, Veda means knowledge and Anta means last or ultimate. The description of it, the commentary, is what we're getting now in these 18,000 verses in Srimad Bhagavatam, along with Srila Prabhupada's purports too, which make it even easier to understand or appreciate. So that's what I have done, was able to put down this time. Hare Krishna. So, Vishnu Hare Krishna. So if you want to make some comments or comment on it, then that's...
Thank you, Parīkṣit Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
One thing I noticed is that this is kind of an editing question. If we notice in the beginning, Srila Prabhupada, the translation of the word for balim was strength. And Prabhupada said, so host strength, it should be, it was taxes. So it seems like there was some edit there. Because the word for the, let's see, so the last word is balim.
Yeah.
And in the translation, it says exacted tributes or taxes from their respective rulers, but in the word for word it was translated balim, which as strength. So Srila Prabhupada, see, I do not know how it is said strength, because that was the word for word. Because apparently balim could be both taxes, or in this case, in this context, or strength in other contexts, but somebody made it strength. Interesting point. So I went to the current Veda base and it still says strength instead of taxes. Anyway.
But they are connected, aren't they? Because the stronger emperor is able to defeat the other king and then exact taxes.
Yeah.
It's because of the strength of the emperor. The taxes come.
Although in the translation he said exacted tributes, or tax, which are the taxes. So anyway, sometimes there's some discrepancies there. So Srila Prabhupada is apparently pointing it out, which I thought was interesting. One time in Philadelphia, Srila Prabhupada was preaching from the 6th canto and the pastime of a Jamil. And a devotee named Nitai, who was a Sanskrit editor, was reading the translation of the verse, and he said, and Ajamil saw the Yamadutas and said, Narayan, Narayan, Narayan. And Prabhupada interrupted. He said, wait, 3 times Narayan? No, he said it 1 time. 1 time. And so then Nitai said, but I'm reading it here and it says 3 times. And Prabhupada said, change it 1 time. And so it turns out that actually Nitai had changed it from 1 to 3. So Prabhupada, Nitai, so sometimes that happens. You got to be careful. Anyway, and then Srila Prabhupada was talking about how Paundraka was, because he tried to pose as God, he had his head removed, and that reminded me of the yogi Bhikṣit during the time of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, who was the deputy magistrate in Jagannath Puri. He was deputed to address the problem of Bhikṣit, who said he was Mahavishnu. And so, of course, there's many different people. You can go on Wikipedia and you can find a whole list of people who claim that they're God or have claimed that they're God. So, of course, we don't take an active role in cutting their heads off in this age, but we chant Hare Krishna, and hopefully they get some benefit, but we don't listen to their nonsense.
Can I tell you something funny? If you don't mind my interrupting. I remember something that
we like funny things.
Something that Bhaktivinoda Maharaj mentioned. He said at that time in the mid-90s, to date, they have said, I think it's 1,200, if I remember the number correctly, 1,200 people who had claimed to be Jesus. Because Jesus is supposed to return, so then they were claiming that they were Jesus. So this is going on all the time. Anyway, I just wanted to throw that in.
Yeah,
it's funny.
So, but devotees aren't fooled by that condition. They'll address that. I mean, that's an important part of it. Yeah. So, and one other thing, and Srila Prabhupada was saying how, the reason that Lord Krishna was instigating Arjuna to fight was because on the other side, he said, we're thieves, rogues, and demons. That means the Kurus. So sometimes we hear, and especially those people who are brought up in kind of a Hindu background, that the real instruction of Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna is that to do your duty. But it's more than do your duty. It's more than do your duty. It's that Krishna wanted him to fight to remove the burden of the world. It's not that, and that was the real duty was, as he said in the last part of the Bhagavad Gita, his real dharma is to surrender to Krishna, and Krishna wanted him to fight. There's so many different rules and regulations about when to fight and when not to fight, and he was all kind of confused, Arjuna. But Krishna the order of Krishna, the order of the spiritual master is the last word in Dharma. So that's really a really good point. And interestingly, I was listening to a Srila Prabhupada lecture on the other day, and you know how in Ramananda Roy's talks with Lord Chaitanya, Lord Chaitanya, posing as a student, asked even though he's a sannyasi and a Brahmin, he asked Ramananda Roy, what is the process of spiritual realization to understand God? And Ramananda Roy starts with, follow the varṣāṇi system. And Lord Chaitanya says, that's external. That's external. How's that? Because, even supposedly following Vedic system, the varṣāṇi system, people can do it for material purposes. So then ultimately he comes and he says, Ramananda Roy says, Sarva dharman parityajya mam ekam sharanam braja aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayashyami ma sucha. And what does Lord Chaitanya say in response to that? That's external. That's external. So the conclusion of Bhagavad Gita, Lord Chaitanya said, was external. So then Srila Prabhupada in this lecture, he explained further. He said, not that it's external, not that it is actually external, but because everyone in Kali Yuga is a fool and rascal and cannot accept that instruction. Therefore, the next thing he said was, just to hear from an authority, stay in your position and hear from a transcendental authority about the pastimes and activities and instructions of Krishna. And Lord Chaitanya said, yes, that's it, and go further. So it's not that really the instruction of Lord Krishna to Arjuna of giving up all varieties of religion and surrender is external, but for us nowadays in this day and age, because most of us are fools and rascals, we can't accept that. Therefore, so that was very interesting, I thought. Yeah. Those are just some things. Oh,
so
and then
okay.
Go ahead.
You were mentioning that bottom line, we have to hear the words and instructions of the bona fide spiritual master. You didn't make mention of that. I hope devotees remember that, because it's quite important. What did Srila Prabhupada say? And when he says, this society, and a number of us have been going back, but at least 3 of us were talking about it, about this ISKCON society. Ultimately, it's a society of mercy. So much mercy is built in into this society, even into our rules, especially since, as Vaishnava, a good many of us don't chant 64 rounds every day. But because Srila Prabhupada gave the mercy and brought it down to 16, that's what we're doing, 16 minimum every day. That's definitely mercy. That's definitely mercy. And it was from the spiritual master. So the society's, we were thinking the society's health as a whole will depend on how people are aware, especially our leaders, are aware of Srila Prabhupada's instructions. And when he's giving mercy, accept that it is mercy rather than fight it with some other reference somewhere else, but fight it and go by the mercy and do things based on his mercy. Because he was merciful in so many situations.
There can be a tendency to, we chant Jai Prabhupada, but then ignore what he has to say.
And that's not good at all. That's not good. The only one thing that's strong in the society now, it's from our generation, down from our generations, that the younger devotees very much like the holy name. And they're into it very much. And that is their saving grace. I think the society has a good chance, because that's what Lord Chaitanya did. He chanted and chanted and chanted the holy name in Sankirtan. And the devotees, younger devotees, are into it very much. So that will help us. Personally, that's the hope that I have, that the society remains strong and even gets stronger because the holy name being vibrated like that for the young people. Hare Krishna. Anyway, Any other comments, devotees? So,
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Please accept my humble obeisance to Prabhupada. I know it's over the time, actually. I'll just quickly say just quick two things that I liked. One was like, how Prabhupada was like very, at the start itself, how he was mentioning about the wars and, things happening. It was such an appropriate thing that is like today's world is going through so much turmoil. Of course, it has been going through all the time, but nowadays, I feel like in my life till now, 30 years, I'm seeing this kind of things from like past 5-6 years. Before that, I haven't we were just hearing or reading in the books, and it doesn't give us that. Reading will not really give us what has happened. So this is what Prabhupada was saying, that it has been happening and it will keep happening. So that was really something to contemplate on. And then he was explaining about how the trident of Durga Mata, like that was very nice. And then he was explaining about all the attempts are futile. Basically, somewhere it comes comes down to saying that scientists, they are attempting to they are discovering things. The knowledge is already there in the scriptures, and they are making futile attempts to get the same knowledge. They are just making futile attempts. We have so much knowledge. I was thinking that when we purchase a machine, so that machine always accompanies with it, has a manual with it. And the person who is preparing the manual, he intelligently makes sure that each and every step how to operate the machine is mentioned in it clearly, so that it is foolproof. So how can the Lord, such an intelligent person, he will make a mistake and you have to find something else, he will never make that mistake. He has given us everything. We just have to make sure that we are reading it nicely and following those things nicely, and go back to God, as Prabhupada was mentioning. So that was really something for me. I was also checking actually this one thing, another point, like Prabhuji was mentioning, Vishnavada Prabhu, about the word balim. And I was checking on the sideline, I just checked it out, the Sanskrit meaning. So it comes from the word bala, like the root word bala, but when it comes as balim, then it comes to taxes, or tributes and taxes, like that it comes out. So that's there.
Okay.
I was just checking out. So anyways, that's not very important.
No, it's important. It's good to have it all, because we got both sides of it, strength and also, the fact that balim sometimes is used for tax situations, that a person that is superior, stronger, is imposing tax on the person that is going to be subordinate. So that it all joins in nicely, perfectly. Any other
Sanskrit is such a language that it's like one, you make a small change in the word and the meaning can change, it is pretty much a lot of difference. So, Hare Krishna.
I don't use the word Hare Krishna. I don't use the word that changing the part of it changes the meaning. I'll have to just take exception to that. I think it expands the meaning. That's what actually does. So some other aspects come into play also to add to that same word. Yashat Prashadam Bhagavat Prashado. Yashat Prashadam. Srila Prabhupada is translated by the mercy of Krishna. One gets Guru. But then Yashat Prashad Bhagavat Prashadu also says that if Guru is satisfied, then Krishna is satisfied. The same sentence. Srila Prabhupada's, But then the connection of Guru and Krishna are there in both situations. So then the Yashat Prashad Bhagavat Prashadu becomes an expanded, it has an expanded meaning. in different situations. Hare Krishna. But thank you for your observation. Thank you, Vishnu, for comments. Any final comments or questions? If not, then I know there's one announcement that I definitely have to make, and that is tomorrow, Ramnomi, right? That's correct, right? Damodar, tomorrow we're having.
Yes, Prabhu, we'll have Ramnavami tomorrow.
Ramnomi tomorrow in the evening. So the devotees, please come to the temple and let's glorify Sitaram and Lakshman and Hanuman tomorrow evening. Come to the temple. There'll be a program there. That is Harrisburg Temple, that is. Hare Krishna. Vancha kalpatarubhischa kripa sundibhya evacha patitānaṁ pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you again. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Glory to Srila Prabhupada.